Salutations, dear viewers. You're on with Nexon of the Vast Nexus, and welcome to Let's Play a Gaming Legend, Metroid Zero Mission. And it begins. Now this is going to be a little interesting considering I'm on the clock for this one. This is going to be a hard run through in less than 2 hours. Hopefully. Because this game can get brutal at times, especially on the hard difficulty where you're that close to death. Yeah, well, I haven't gotten like the Various suit or anything yet, so it's not going to be so bad. Just gotta not take another hit. There we go. Into the waiting hand of a Torzio statue. Well, technically it's a statue of a Chozo, but it's called Torzio. So I'm doing it. I am playing the legend that is Metroid. Particularly the legend within that legend, Metroid Zero Mission. The remake of the original Metroid for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This title, in particular, was made for the Game Boy Advance. And it is a worthwhile remake, to be certain. Listen to that music. Look at how smooth she flows. One move into another. Sequence breaking. I mean, this game has it all. And our second upgrade. We got the Morph Ball ways back. First thing you get, as per usual. So yes, this run will also endeavor to go for 100%. Of that, I am certain. Whether or not I'll be able to make an actual 2-hour run at this difficulty is another matter. Took a hit there that I really shouldn't have. The game forces you pretty much to go into the room with the boss doors so that you can scope out at what you need to unlock. There we go. Now let's see if I remember like the best strategy for dealing with this guy, because I have had him kill me before. Let's pop, let's pop. Oh, thank God. We are like 3 hits away from death at any given moment. We need E-tanks and we need that Various suit. And a little guidance from the Chozo. Where to go next? Strictly speaking, if I remember correctly, those actually reveal the positions of upgrades. I mean, you will often find major upgrades in the hands of Chozo statues. So yeah, I gotta be mindful, not just take hits blindly. There's also a passageway there for when you take the, what is it, 15% or less run through? we're going to take a minute to save because we might die, and there's also points where we'll have to save because we're going to have to grind to get power-ups within the time limit. So if I'm like breakneck, not stopping to smell the roses, it's because we're going for that less than 2-hour time limit. And our first missile tank. Cool. Yeah, even those guys are a problem. And because this is hard, we get a lousy 2 missiles for that. It's not even enough to beat this first mini-boss. Come here, worm. Give me some. I need missiles. Yeah, he's gonna fail. Had to wait for the energy pickup to disappear, because that's a weird thing in this game. It's an entity limit problem, no doubt. Okay, so we'll be waiting a little while for that charge beam, because that guy's being kind of a pain. And now we can open the red doors, since we have missiles. Don't hit me, guys. Just please, just... Yeah, straight in the goo. Thanks for that. I'm gonna take these, like, nest hive things down when you only have the, 15% or less run through. No long beam. It's not fun. So we have a second missile tank, so now we can actually hold enough missiles at this difficulty to defeat that boss. He requires 3 missile hits to his eye. Eyes do seem to be a common weak point in games, like long before Resident Evil, you know, made that kind of a common thing. You were shooting the eyes out of stuff in Zelda. Alright, so, and yet another missile tank, so yeah, we've got plenty of rocket weapons. Problem for me, aren't you? There we go. Bye-bye, weird centipede thing. I'm sure it has a name. A name that I could have looked up before I did this, but... Oh, like... If you're that curious, you can look it up for yourself. We know who the major baddies are. We got Kraid, Ridley... And of course... Drain... the acid. And we have our first energy tank, and it's only worth half of what it usually is, because this difficulty does not take prisoners. And a map. Now, like, attention to detail here is amazing. Just look at the animation of the map uplink once Samus is done with it. I'm going to take a second here just to let it do its thing. Like, look at all that. They didn't need to do that, but they did. I mean, like, technical design in Japanese works, and I know I'm stereotyping there a bit, is always just incredible, top-notch. I should be avoiding fights as opposed to a lot of entities. I should be avoiding fights as opposed to fighting them because, you know, every fight I get into is reducing my chance of making that 2-hour completion limit. Alright, so let's bomb this. Get another missile tank. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Metroid, this kind of stuff hidden in the rafters is just the way this game works. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the really obscure stuff yet. That's near the end, and believe me, you'll know it when you see it. Now, I could sequence break, but I am actually going to play this game in the appropriate sequence. Probably a dumb idea, considering I'm going for that 2-hour completion time. But we'll see. And if the commentary is a little dry, my apologies. to sort of get this as smooth and concise as possible, even though I've sort of run through this so much that it should be second nature to me by now, I kind of go into full gamer mode. So, yeah. I'm going to be focusing on the gameplay and maybe talking a little less. I am going to try to keep momentum up, because that's the whole point of a Let's Play. So I believe here we'll have another Chozo that'll tell, or Torzio, that'll tell us where to go. And I've always been curious, is that like a throne behind him? Because, I mean, these statues or machines clearly have some degree of, you know, animation to them. They move. So, is he supposed to be in that chair? Was he a guard of some... Because, I mean, we find out in Super Metroid that those things are actually potentially weaponized. Was he the guard of somebody who used to be here? So, for those of you who may have been born after the era of Metroid, this is Samus Aran, top-notch bounty hunter. And Samus is going to defeat the leader of the space pirates, the Mother Brain. Now, what I'm going to do here is not technically a sequence break. Just being clever. Or just really stupid. That just cost me time. And yes, those little goofs that take a second are going to become a problem going for that 2-hour run, because at normal difficulty, I can get this in like 130, 145, and even that's considered like for the Metroid hards, but in hard mode, yeah, you can't afford to just tank hits and blaze through, because you do not have the actual endurance to just handle that, to be honest. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just pop a save, because we've passed several save stations and we haven't used a single one. There we go. Run through the door, down this hole. Yeah, just try to avoid contact with the enemies. I'm already depleting half of my extended energy tank. Oh, I hate those enemies that just pop out of nowhere. I mean, Metroid has a lot of conventions that I suppose if you took like a fresh player, somebody who had no experience with the franchise, they'd have no idea what's going on. Oh, there's Mother. It's not polite to stare. Oh, and of course her eye has to turn into a slit because she's evil, and that's a spooky design. Okay. So yeah, oh, I ran through this recently on normal just to get a feel for it before I attempted this hard run, because I knew that it wasn't going to be easy. Yeah, one hit from any of those guys would just end this. Just saying. Luckily, well, technically we have to go through the fish tank first. Huh, didn't think of that. We got another Chozo statue coming up. So I figured we can afford to take a few hits this time around. There we go. Dealt with him. Get a missile tank. And collecting these is so vital on hard mode, because like I said, they give you so little. You can feel just how encumbered Samus is in water. This is just... she's so slow. Ugh. Now, as a little context for this Let's Play, I plan on doing a significant portion of the Metroid series, but it is not going to be in chronological order of release or chronological order of game timeline, because both of those create kind of awkward problems. Instead, I'm going to be running through the 2D series first, and then moving into 3D. So, you know, the Prime series and the much reviled Other M, for good reason, I might add. So what did we just get there? I guess we'll find out. I mean, people find it strange that, like, why does this character just turn into a ball? The funny part is, some Metroid fans don't even know why that is. And the reason's actually kind of dumb. The developers knew that she'd have to pass through narrow passageways. And remember, the original game for this came out on the NES, so they realized that, well, programming a whole crawling animation for Samus is going to be a problem. But our alternative... Oh, I had a chance to be cool. Our alternative is, like, what are we supposed to do? Get rid of all the tight spaces? We've kind of built the game around these narrow secret passageways. So somebody hit upon the idea, and it turned out to be brilliant, of, well, why doesn't she just turn into a ball? It's easy to animate. And so the genesis, if you will, of Samus turning into a ball was born out of, well, you know, a crawling animation is going to take a lot of time and effort, and it's going to take up space on the cartridge. So she turns into a ball. It's just a concession of the series. It's by far not the strangest thing in a Metroid game. Now, I gotta say that I was not exposed to Metroid as a child. I played different games on different consoles, and I am not actually stating that Metroid is awesome from a sense of nostalgia like most fans. Metroid is just an incredible game. This is an incredible game. I mean, in full disclosure, when I first played this, I did approach it with the benefit of a walkthrough, which, if you're going for 100% completion or anything like that, is enormously beneficial. But I can also see the appeal for those who want a more true-to-form experience where they're exploring the environment and surviving by their own wits, especially if they are going to try to find everything entirely on their own. The thing is, best ending comes from getting 100% completion and completing it under 2 hours. If you don't know what you're doing, your chances of doing that on a first attempt are nil. You're just not going to be able to do it. I mean, I suppose I should gain that degree of foreknowledge for Resident Evil, the earlier installments, when I play them. I'm going to save on the grounds that my health is not fantastic. Not even health, technically, it's energy. It's hit points. I find it amazing that people think HP is heart points. No, man, it's hit points. See how many times you can be hit before you die. Yeah, the little flaming guys are gleamers, I think, and these are rippers, even though the name... They're not really all that rippy, they just kind of lazily float around. Pull. Quick like a rabbit. There we go. That can be a tricky room if you're not careful. And the feigned ice beam. Freeze your opponents, and then you can just use them as pedestals. And we have another statue! Get that health back up, get that ammo refilled. We can't open that door because it's green! Metroid fans will know exactly what we need to open that door. But if you haven't played Super Metroid, you probably don't have a clue. And the enemies are now stairs. I could also wall jump up that room. I will say wall jumping is easier once you get the super jump, though. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you'll return to see the rest. And, in the meantime, fare thee well.